G'day Australia, my name is Lucky Tran. I'm a scientist and science communicator who's from Australia but is working here in New York at Columbia University. I really wanted to be at home right now with all of you, but unfortunately the global pandemic happened and it changed everything. And here in New York, we're really doing it tough. It's been a really difficult period for all of us here. I work at the largest hospital here, and our doctors and nurses and healthcare workers have been working under really difficult conditions. They've been seeing so many patients, there's been a surge of patients that's really been overwhelming the system. And they've really been working under conditions where they don't have enough protective equipment, they don't have enough tests, they don't have everything they need to really do their jobs as well as they can do. And for all of us, we've either been sick or we've been caring for loved ones who are sick, or we've had friends and other people that we know who have lost loved ones. The death toll is up to tens of thousands of people, and it really is horrific. And as an Asian person, it's been really, really difficult to see with the pandemic that there's been a rise of xenophobia and racism too. And as an Australian in New York, it feels like 2020 has just been full of mourning. It was so hard to see earlier this year communities devastated back home by the fires, and it was really so difficult to watch the places I know and love really go up in flames. It was really hard to see friends and family breathing in really dangerous levels of air pollution, and it was so difficult to see people sheltering on the beach with nowhere to go because of the fires. And it was absolutely devastating to see a place like Kangaroo Island, a place near and dear to my heart, where I grew up and I learned about the wonderful Australian wildlife, to really suffer immense amounts of damage. The COVID crisis and the climate crisis are connected. In both, science tells us we need to act urgently, but in both we see science denial. I'm a scientist who's been fighting science censorship as part of the March for Science and many other groups, and we see the same thing happening in both. In the climate crisis, we see censorship happening because oil companies are greedy and they want to protect their profits at the cost of lives. In the coronavirus crisis, we see politicians try to hold on political power and protect that at the cost of lives by censoring scientists too. That's really unacceptable. The communities impacted most by both crises are the same. They're communities of colour, immigrants, and Indigenous communities. Those are the communities who have to go out there and work essential jobs and put themselves at risk during a pandemic. And those are the communities who have worse access to good healthcare. And in the climate crisis, those communities are most exposed to climate-linked disasters like fires, floods, cyclones, and air pollution. And these two crises also have a common root. They are perpetuated by the greed of a few who put their short-term profits over the lives of the many. We cannot just forget about these generation-changing events we are experiencing. Now, I know we'll hear a lot of talk about going back to normal as quickly as possible, but going back to normal isn't a choice. These crises have already changed society in enormous ways, and they are going to reshape the world for generations to come. So the real choice we have is whether we choose to keep on perpetuating inequality and suffering, or we can choose to lift up the voices of young people, of communities of colour, of the most impacted, and we can all work together. We can build a better society. We can build a more just economy. One that is based on green jobs for all and keeping fossil fuels in the ground. One that lifts everyone up instead of dividing us. Another world is possible. Hey Australia, we can do this. I love you, I miss you. Now let's all work together and build a better future.